Yes, all right, thank you.
Excellent, thanks. Back to Championship action, Daniel. I've made a few changes last time out. I suppose the big question, fitness-wise, is Joel Pirro okay after his muscle problems?
Yes, overall, it was also beneficial to have a few days to calm the load a bit down after the festive period and after the FA Cup game, to draw a line on that. And right now we focus again on the Championship. Overall, also to have a few more days between the games was quite beneficial. Obviously, Patrick is doing some progress in his rehab. Obviously, we'll still miss out the January. We spoke about this. Joel is back in team training, so he's also fully fit and available, no problems at all. Also, all the other players came through the load in the last weeks really well. Just one bad news was Pascal Struijk. He reported yesterday little awareness in his hamstring, and out of precaution we had a scan, and sadly it's a muscle injury. He will definitely miss the next 3 weeks. Won't be involved in the games right now in January, and probably also not in the early February, so he's out for 3 weeks. There is a small chance that even the tendon of the muscle is involved. Right now it's a bit too difficult to judge. We just can assess it and see it and a bit clearer once the fluid in the muscle has settled, so we just can rescan him in the middle of next week to give you a bigger time frame. If the tendon would be involved, it would be, of course, a significantly longer rehab for him, and then we would not just speak about 3 weeks, and we would speak about 3 months. At the moment, we are carefully optimistic, and it looks all right. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's just the 3 weeks. But obviously, also like for the upcoming big games, he won't help us, and of course, it's more or less negative news for us. That's how it is.
So just to be specific, it's a hamstring injury. It's what you class it, although it's the muscle.
Exactly. He reported yesterday some awareness, but not a major problem, because he was also able to train on Wednesday, and just out of precaution we sent him to scan, and more or less the result was a big surprise, negative surprise for all of us, if I'm honest. And he will be at least out for the next 3 weeks. That's definitely a fact. And again, I have to be a bit careful and assess him pretty carefully, because if he would be out for a significantly longer period, of course this was also have a huge impact also on our plans going forward. And for that, of course, for the next games, it's definitely a big blow. So we'll definitely miss the games in the next, obviously also on Sunday and then the next week. And then hopefully it's just that he's 3 weeks out.
So what is the plan then, Daniel? What is your ideal scenario for plan B?
Well, ideal would be if Pascal is pretty quick back available, because he's our vice captain, he's our rock in the defense. Also, we spoke about his impact, not just in the open play. We had many clean sheets with him, but also his strength in defending, attacking set pieces. So it's quite obvious that we always score more goals when he's on the pitch out of set piece, and we're also better in defending when he's on the pitch. So he's a very important player for us, and of course a bit of a concern for myself. Yes, and we have to be a bit careful also in terms of the plans. So I spoke about that we will stay awake till the end of the business, till the end of the transfer window. If there is perhaps some business that could improve us, that's definitely a fact. And the second topic is if there is a more or less a big injury of one of our key players, then if there is an emergency case, also perhaps to be forced to react a little bit. And for that, we definitely need to assess Pascal's situation quite carefully. To be honest, if it's actually in the end just 3 weeks, it's no need perhaps that we are forced to do something, because if you would bring a new player in, he also needs perhaps a couple of weeks to settle in, and this would be then more or less the time frame also when Pascal is back. But if it's a long-term injury and he would be out for months, and it's of course a bit tricky. Again, it doesn't look likely at the moment, but I have also a bit in my head. Last season was a similar situation, similar timing. Pascal had an injury. It's more like the diagnosis was 2 or 3 weeks out, and it ended up that he didn't play one game for us anymore, and it was a big blow for us. So for that, I'm a bit concerned and I'm a bit more aware and awake than I would be without this injury on the market. And for that, I think it's important that we have a look on possible options as well, especially in case there would be a negative surprise next week and we have to speak about a significantly longer absence of Pascal. So again, fingers crossed right now, and we will definitely play also the next games without him, and then we see what happens.
I know you've got Ethan Ampadu that can play, and that can play really well there, as you've already shown, Daniel. But in other positions, especially with Joe Gellhart gone and Patrick, you're still quite exposed. So when you talk about being awake, you've been awake in several areas now, surely, because the decision to send Joe Gellhart out or agree to it has been made now. But do you feel really like?
Yes, because this injury of Pascal doesn't affect the decisions about Charlie Crew or Joe Gellhart. Because Charlie Crew and Joe Gellhart won't end up playing centre back for me. So for that, with Charlie, we had the decision after it was more or less confirmed that Ilya Gruev is back and also Ethan Ampadu is back, and it makes sense for him right now to gain some minutes and to go out on loan and to play week in, week out and to grow in his personality and also to find his rhythm and his confidence. I think it's a great decision. And with Joffrey, it's not just he was out for a few weeks anyhow, but meanwhile he's more or less struggling for game time since months, and for us as a club over a year already. He was sent out on loan even before I arrived. Also didn't have that much game time. His behavior was always professional, but due to our offensive options, it was quite often the case that he was there without game time, or quite often also not even in the squad. And a player in his age, I think it's also important also to create value for us as a club, that he plays and finds his rhythm back in order to improve as a player. And it was also his big wish right now to use this window to find a solution to get more game time. And because his behavior was always professional and always spot on, and we could always count on him, I think we rewarded his wish with signing also off that we allow him to go on loan. I think it definitely makes sense for his development. Again, overall, I'm very happy with my squad. I spoke about, there is more or less, due to the injury of Patrick, definitely also a situation where we have to stay awake. If perhaps in your offensive positions there's another addition with a striker number 10, something like this. But to be honest, we're top of the league. We are in the fourth round in the FA Cup, so it's also not easy to find in this stage a solution who makes us better from the football point of view, who is also a great character, and who is also affordable for us in this January window. January is always a bit more complicated than the summer because there are not too many options, or there are perhaps just options on the market who hasn't played that much in the last 6 months, or there's a different issue. So for that, it's not easy to find really a perfect solution that improves us, but is also affordable. But definitely in these positions, we have to stay awake if there is perhaps in the end a solution. Yes, and right now, due to the injury of Pascal, even a bit more like also on the centre-back position, because it's still a situation with Max Wöber. I'm happy that he's back after his injury, but it's still a situation where we have to handle and manage his load during the week a little bit more. It's improving, and he's training more and more regularly, and hopefully it goes into the right direction. But if we're really honest, also during the season he was not that often available, and we had more or less always the situation that we had to manage the situation around his knee. So for that, it's definitely also a position where after Pascal's injury right now we have to be even a bit more aware, and this is just, I think, transparent and open also to name it like it is, without that we are in panic mode or something like this. So if we would be in panic mode, just the prices for our targets would go up. So for that, no one has to be concerned. We're not in panic mode. But if there is in the end a solution and an option, we won't fall asleep, that's for sure.
You've been very open and said it will be a quiet window, quite probably. But how concerned do you get that your immediate rivals will strengthen, Daniel? Does that concern you?
No, because we don't sign a player just in order to make sure that he doesn't join a different club anyhow. So for that, it should make sense for us, and what other clubs do, is a business of the other clubs. I would never ever comment this. yeah, to be honest, there's at the moment just one team who's top of the league, and for that, obviously the best team in the league, to improve the best team in the league is always a bit more difficult to improve such a side. Yeah, if you're perhaps not in the best formation, in the best position, then there's a bit more urgency in order to improve perhaps the team and the squad. But again, we are not scared of any improvements or whatever. So sometimes if you overdo business, this could be also tricky with the spirit, with the vibes and with the development. So we will watch carefully. So I will never rule out business for us, because yeah, if you find a player who improves your squad, so why not? But also the other two topics, so that he needs to have a really good character, and he has to be affordable. These are also two important points. And if there is a perfect solution in the end, yes, we'll go for it. If not, then we go with what we've got.
And how much do you feel Sheffield Wednesday have improved since you've last played them?
Well, a lot overall. They were last season involved in the relegation battle a lot. Daniel Farke has done a fantastic job to keep them up, and right now they have also improved into being in a good position in mid-table. They have even the chance right now also, like perhaps to have a push for the top six. They are really an informed team, and a team who always plays with intensity, and you feel also a good spirit on the pitch, and you feel there's a really group on the pitch with togetherness, good balance out of very experienced championship players, but also some exciting young players. So a good group, and we are fully aware that they always are a threat. They are capable to score goals. They play brave, and for that we have to be on it. Have to be at our best again in order to cement, to stabilize, and perhaps even to improve our position.
Thank you.
Hi, Daniel. The Sheffield Wednesday owner this week said that he and Danny Farke haven't spoken since December. Have you managed or witnessed a situation where there's been dysfunction at the top level of a club? And how often is often enough to speak to your owner and the key people?
I think overall it depends a bit on the situation. I won't comment the Sheffield Wednesday situation, but I just can speak about my experience. And my experience is that the club is always successful then when really the key people in the club are tied together on one page and moving into the right direction. And I'm not speaking about other clubs, I'm just speaking about us as a club. So when I speak about the people who are important for me, myself, with Adam Underwood, with Alex, at the moment, obviously transfer window, we are more or less in daily conversations. Had yesterday long meeting, even this morning we'll have one also after our press conference. Angus Kinner also around, we'll also have a good conversation later on. During this week, Greta was also in, so we still are capable also to use his network. Nick Hammond always with his experience and his network supports us and is always there with recommendations, and if we need something, then he's always there. After last game, I had a really good telephone call also with Parag to speak about several things, short, mid, and long term, what we want to do. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps I have too many conversations. We should concentrate a bit more on training. So, but no, just joking. So, just want to say, so our conversations are on a top level. So you got the feeling. So we're speaking about everything. What is quite important. Also, not to forget, Peter Rory texted me today. He will also be around tomorrow for training. Wants to have a short chat. So lots of conversation. We have to make sure that it's not too much tea and coffee anyhow, and we're still focused on the business. But everyone who is really important for us is really on the same page and working in the same direction. That doesn't mean we have easy solutions, because otherwise we would sign one world-class player after another without spending money anyhow. So it's still a complicated world in order to bring, for example, reinforcements in. But we all know where we are, we all know where we want to be, and we all know what we want to achieve in the end. And for that, I just can speak about us as a club. We are pretty tight together and on a good road and on a good path, and want to be successful. And what I can say, to have this togetherness within the club is always a key, because this football world is crazy and everyone is panicking so quick and it's quite often emotional. It's important that the key people are really tied together and are moving in the right direction. And I can't complain about anything, I have to say.
You talk quite a lot about protecting the togetherness of the group. Have you ever seen it as a player or a manager where someone has come in, you don't have to name names obviously, but a bad egg, and maybe spoil things or upset things?
Yes, as a player, as a manager, so in more or less each and every function. So because football games, of course, the individual quality of the player is important, but it's also important that he's good character, because football is not, with all respect, but it's not tennis, it's not golf, apart from the Ryder Cup perhaps, but it's more like when you just can focus on yourself, or you just have to focus on yourself. It's all a bit competition. It's also about like that you have a good group. So if you head into a game and the 11 field players are happy and all the others on the bench are unhappy, and create a spirit of being not tied together, being not supportive, happy once you're losing, happy once a player on the pitch is there with mistakes, because his chances are improving then to play again. If you have such an atmosphere within the group, you can't win anything, because I think this is proved more or less in each and every season. If it's in the league, on league level, or if it's a Champions League, it's never that just the team with the most expensive squad or the best individual players will always win the Champions League, because otherwise, don't want to name a few clubs, but a few more clubs would have won the Champions League more often, if I'm really honest. Or the same in terms of titles. And it's, of course, the quality is important, the potential is important. Without quality, you can't win anything, and it's also important not to be scared of quality, and you have to use quality. That's quite important, but also to make sure that you still have a good spirit, and it's still more like the group is more important than anything else. We have our quotes on the walls, and these quotes were definitely true 30 years ago. It's true nowadays, and will be true also within 30 years. So you have to be tied together as a group. This is also my experience in the title race. Once I won the title, and once perhaps you missed a chance to win the title anyhow. So the spirit within the group, these are the decisive 10%. And if you have a bad egg within the group, then even to get rid of this quality and this option, and to have more spirit within the group, this could be definitely beneficial. And this is also one of my mantras for each and every transfer window.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Obviously, on Saturday, Manor Solomon played in the number 10 when Brendan was rotated. How happy are you with your number 10 options in the squad at the moment?
Yes, we have a few options. They're all obviously different, also different from their style. We have had Joe Perot also in this role, who plays it a bit more like a loose striker, obviously not like a mobile number 10 who is there with one genius pass after another. Manor interprets this role a bit more like, also from this position, a bit more or less was going for one against one duels to take opponents on. Brennan is a bit more like in between, also dangerous himself with scoring, but also is capable to set up a player with a decisive pass. So we have some options. Yeah, of course, you always can speak about more and different skills, different type of players. I spoke about that also in the offense, also due to the sadly the injury of Patrick. Will also won't fall asleep in these positions. But this squad is also definitely on top of the league. So it means like we are in a good position in order to be successful with our options. And for that, I will never rule out anything. If we find a player also on this position, I wouldn't rule out any business, but it's not like panic mode. Otherwise, we wouldn't be top of the league.
Yeah, you said you were impressed with Manor Solomon in the number 10 last week. Is he your first choice behind Brendan? Say if Brendan was available, would you give him the nod?
Yeah, we have still to be a bit careful not to overinterpret the game against Harrogate. Of course, we want to win a home game against Harrogate, and also the individual performances. We had some really good performances. Manor, to be honest, he assisted to the goal when he was playing a bit more wide in his natural role on the left side. We had also, I think, some really good individual performances. Isaac, also someone to mention, major step forward for him. But we also must not forget, with all respect, it was a spirited and well-defending Harrogate side, but it was not a competitor on our level, or the level where we want to be. And for that, I wouldn't overinterpret also like Manor's role there. We know that he can play there. He has played a lot for his country also in this position. He can play there, but also he would interpret this role as slightly different also to what we have had before, also like with Brendan, for example. So it's an option. It was also good to see him there, and he's definitely a solution who can play there, but also Willy Gnonto was also 1 or 2 times involved there. So we have a few players who are perhaps not like a traditional, typical number 10, but who can definitely do a job also in this position. Yes, and the best choice is, with all this respect to all the others in this position, is if Brendan hopefully stays fit and also like sharp, like he was, adds further on end products, endless work rate anyhow, because he's doing a really fantastic job in this role. I'm pretty happy with him at the moment.
You said a few times if you're going to bring anybody in, they've got to improve the squad. So when you're top of the Championship, we're looking at Premier League quality players, really. In your experience, when you've spoken to those players or their agents, would they rather be involved in a Premier League relegation fight or a Championship promotion battle if they had the choice this month?
That's difficult. I think it depends also on the player. So obviously I don't speak too much with the agents, because otherwise I told you about my many meetings anyhow, and also I have to speak with the players anyhow. So if I would talk right now, even to each and every agent anyhow, there's no time to concentrate on football and training and the games anymore. So. This difficult stuff, I leave it with our people who are responsible for this. But it depends a bit on. Of course, the Premier League, for example, is attracting, and everyone wants to play on this level. And it always depends a bit on. Yeah, of course, if you're 10, 15 points behind the non-relegation places, then it's more likely that you are getting relegated. No one wants really to be involved, perhaps. Yeah, but if you play, for example, for a big club who is a bit surprisingly involved, everyone speaks about the potential, then I think the motivation to still make sure, okay, that you finish above the line on Premier League level is still pretty attractive. But it always depends on the player. We are in a good position right now. We are top of the league and are involved in the promotion fight. That's definitely a bit easier situation than if you would sit in position 9, 10 or 11. That's definitely for sure. But if you rather choose relegation battle in the Premier League or promotion battle in the Championship, it depends a bit on the individual player and also a bit like in which situation you actually are. So I think you can't judge it in general that it's always in this way or in that way.
Have you rejected any approaches for any of your players this month yet?
No one was in my office apart from Joffy. I spoke with him about the loan situation when he then mentioned, okay, he wants Joffy's move to Hull. No one was in my office in order to ask me to leave. So I got the feeling everyone is really fully committed and fully concentrated and focused on helping us. Yeah, in our challenges and what we want to achieve. So for that, we didn't have to reject any offer. Sometimes it's like behind the scenes, something even, that something comes in anyhow. But I've told also our key people, as long as no one wants to leave, we don't even have to speak about it, and they don't even have to mention it, because it's just a waste of time. So at the moment, everyone is really spot on and focused and wants to help. I don't have the feeling at all. At the moment, I'm not sure what happens the next, 2 weeks or something like this. But no one was in my office so far to ask for the permission to go somewhere else. So for that, we didn't have to reject an offer.
Cheers.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.